Welcome to part 8 of Blaster Master 02. Last time we avoided some instant death bullshit and found a little baby support droid. Her name was Tessit, and she asked us to find her pilot for her, so we did just that, and we found a pilot, and he wanted to kill us. So chances are we didn't find the right pilot. So we need to get back to the goal at hand, which is to find Tessit's pilot, avoid GARUDA, and get the fuck out of here, because this place is creepy. Area D is a sector of space filled with planetoids. There are no real main planets to speak of in this place. This planetoid in particular is a series of gauntlets. You got antibody enemies, you got the mother brains, and you got those crab-like enemies I forgot the names of. Wait a minute, the crab's names are hard shells, and they're not even on this planetoid. Whoops! Something in my gut tells me that Jason and Eve will run into that homicidal pilot again soon. Just a hunch. He seems like he's on a mission. Or he's insane. He also seems like the typical anti-form to the superhero. I mean, if you look at his armor, it's almost one for one like Jason's armor. And yes, I know, that is a concept art thing. That was supposed to be Jason's armor at one point, but they changed it back to red. Now, that pilot, the one for GARUDA, his name is Leibniz, and his story is tragic. Of course it is. That's why he hates everything and everybody. Leibniz is definitely the most interesting Metal Attacker pilot out of the rest of the cast because of his background. And we'll be seeing more of his dark and devious personality as the series progresses, because as we all know with these characters, they're not all that dark and devious. In fact, they have a really soft, gooey center inside them, or in Leibniz's case, it's really fragile. He also has a kick-ass music track that plays whenever he shows up, and we all know that all edgy antagonists by law must have kick-ass music pieces playing in the background. That's just Fiction 101 right there. If the antagonist doesn't have a piece of music that's intimidating, or lets the audience know they mean business, then they probably suck. Sweet, another SP up. That's going to come in handy when Sophia gets the ultimate weapon later on, which will drain 1 bar of SP. So getting an extra bar will help out with that. As far as sequels go, this game is a vast improvement over BMC 1, and very few video game sequels actually manage to do that. Only a couple of series managed to get their number 2s right. I can name second games that are better than their predecessors on one hand, or maybe 2 hands. You got Batman Arkham City, you got Uncharted 2, Super Contra, Mega Man 2, Sonic 2, Streets of Rage 2, DuckTales 2, even though I'm more fond of DuckTales 1, but I will be honest and say that DuckTales 2 is the better made game. And this game is better than the first game. I don't know why a lot of video game sequels, or at least some of them, just fail or falter a bit. Like Golden Axe 2. That game is laughably blah. Blah. Yes, blah. That's all the characters say in that freaking game is blah. Or better yet, sequels that shouldn't exist, like Star Wars The Force Unleashed 2. Or sequels that make you question your own existence, like Pac-Man 2. Yeah, that's Pac-Man 2. That's a thing. Here's a boss refight with his flying beehive, only except this time I have the Hexa missiles and the impact wave. Now I can make mincemeat out of Octobibby here. The Hexa missiles own everything in this fight. The tiny mutants that spawn from Octobibby go down to one shot regardless, so use the Hexa missiles, they lock onto all of the enemies, and bada boom, you got a dead boss. Yes, I know, I said bada boom, even though I'm not from New York, nor do I have a lick of Italian blood in me, but it sounded cool. Time to blast off for some new worlds. The next planetoid is a breeze, pretty simple, but the boss of that area might give you a run for your money. And of course, it's the guy I was talking about for the past 4 minutes, it's Leibniz, the douchebag with a really cool helmet. Let's see if he's really about trying to kill Jason and Eve. Who knows, maybe he's just trying to challenge them in a sadistic test. Or maybe, Leibniz is just insane in the membrane, a little bit off his rocker. In other words, he's fucking crazy.
There are remnants of civilization here, but
I can't detect any signs of life except for mutants. This sector, Area D. The mutants must have already eradicated all life here. That metal attacker didn't seem like it was protecting this sector. If that's the case, this area didn't have any way to resist the mutants. Just like Area A. And it's not just Area A and D. We've seen so many worlds that have been destroyed by the mutants. I'm not delusional enough to think that I can save everyone. Even with all the things I can do with G-SOPHIA, I don't see myself as a hero, but... well, Jason, I gotta tell you something. We don't need another hero. Okay, sorry about that. And this conversation is about the blast counter. I already explained this in part 1. When an enemy attacks, you press triangle, you attack back, and you dodge that incoming enemy fire. There are 3 total blast counters in the game. You got the standard one where you shoot your rifle back at the enemy. Got shift up attacker, which Jason runs towards the enemy and knocks it the fuck out. And then you get another one from Leibniz during this boss fight. And also, the shift up attacker works as an active dash, so you can just run around all over the place. That is provided if you have the energy for it. You can get the green energy bar back really quickly by shooting enemies, raising hell, flipping enemies off. No, I'm kidding. You can't flip people off in this game. Then they'll have to make it rated T for teen. Or are there E10 games with people flipping each other off? I don't know. I mean, it's just a finger. It's not like they're saying the actual expletive, am I right? But today's standards are a bit different than they were 10-20 years ago. And even with today's standards, this game still gets away with a lot. I finally found you. I won't let you escape this time. Is that GARUDA's pilot? Huh? That choker on his chest. Is that the same as Eve's? 1988 Jason confirmed? Too bad you're alone. I wanted to dispose of you alongside your malfunctioning doll. Ugh, don't you dare insult Eve. Give it up. That doll will be completely broken soon enough. If I destroy you first, you won't have to suffer that. Leibniz, if you're expecting a Proto Man style pushover boss fight, no! This boss fight right here is a tit for tat. Leibniz got blast counters of his own, so he'll counter your counters, you have to counter his counters, and then he'll counter your counters to his counters, and then you have to counter his counters to your counter and his counters, and oh my god, it's a mess. But it's lovely. He's got a couple of different tricks up his sleeve. The spin dash ability where he'll circle around Jason and do one of 2 things. The buzzsaw attack where he'll probably throw it at you thrice by the spin dash ability. That's his most dangerous move actually. And the lightning attack, which is not as dangerous, but he's still really quick, so you gotta be careful. The giant circle he spawns is his blast counter. He repels all of the shots back at you, so you gotta counter his counters with your counter. So this is it. What's wrong? Hurry it up. Finish me off. I'm ready. I'm not the same as you. I have no intention of killing you. That's right. You're absolutely correct. We're utterly different, you and I. I have nothing in common with someone who zealously clings to some busted up doll. Leibniz, you... It's better to throw it away. It'll break anyway. His words don't seem meant for me. I wonder who he's talking to. You know, when Leibniz said throw it away, I was thinking of Sonic Adventure 2 Shadow's theme for some reason. Throw it all away. That song is a really guilty pleasure, I don't know why. It's weird because I don't even like that song, but it's just stuck in my head. I don't know why. It's really strange. Gun level 8 pounds everything. Yes, I know, Eve. Gun level 8 Y Blaster is awesome. Though the strange thing about the Y Blaster is, you know how it weakens in shots when you spam it? Whenever you do a blast counter though, the weakened shots just go back to full power. So you got It implores you to do the blast counter with the wide shot in order to keep at full level. It also works with the splasher weapon too, that being the shotgun. Strangely enough, the shotgun in this game is not that good. It's super weak. It's long range, but it's freaking weak. At least it's still better than the Blaster Master 01 shotgun where it just goes like half a foot in front of Jason and that's it. I never used that weapon in that game. Now arriving on Planetoid D4. Damn, there's no G4 though. I'm not even sure if there's an Area G in this game. Okay, I gotta be honest here. Who here remembers G4 as a gaming channel and not whatever the hell they did a couple of years ago where it was just like every other channel on cable TV? Who remembers G4? I'm going to have to assume everybody here watching is probably over the age of 18 and knows what G4 is. And are gamers. Let's not forget that. Well, all I gotta say was, it was fun while it lasted. Well, at least the video game portions of G4. When it turned to rerun episodes of the show Cops, I didn't really care anymore. I was like 13 when G4 switched its format. That was a really strange time. That was also when Cartoon Network did those really stupid business practices and started to air live action shows on Cartoon Network. Yeah, we all know how that went. Let's just say it sucked. This location, you'll grab another life up as well as a planetoid map. Okay, so now for the actual task at hand, we need to find Tesset's pilot. Leibniz. For one MA to attack another, what he did goes against the MA series Prime Directives. When a pilot defies the mission and turns an MA against non-mutants, the support droid is required to put a stop to it, by any means necessary, even if that means self-destructing. I didn't see any sign of his support droid, from what he said about you. That choker Leibniz had, it looked just like Eve's. It could be that he already lost his support droid. He said that he's not the same as me, but if I ever lost Eve, who could say that I wouldn't turn out just like him? He might be a glimpse of a future where I could not protect Eve. Okay, so fun fact about the chokers that Eve and Leibniz wears around them, those are actually self-destruct mechanisms. And Leibniz is wearing a self-destruct mechanism from his support droid. Okay, that got morbid really quickly. We finally made it to Area F2. It really is the opposite of F1. No shit, Sherlock Frudnick. Adam and his pilot Stein must be in this area somewhere. We can't waste any time finding Stein, for Tesset's sake. Agreed. Let's begin the search. Oh boy, we got instant death with ice! Well, actually, the ice is not a problem here. It's more of the slushy snow. You don't slip around, but if you use the burn spark on the slushy snow, you'll melt right through that bitch. The hard ice right here is fine, but this stuff I'm in right now, you don't want to use the burn spark tackle on because you'll just melt right through. And if you're over an instant death obstacle, well, that means you're going to have to restart the checkpoint. And trust me, I can't begin to tell you how many times I thought I unequipped the burn spark, and I end up using it on accident. On the slushy ice. Yeah, that's not a good time. So if you have no intentions of using the burn spark here, which you shouldn't, just be sure to unequip it before you use any sub-weapon. And by unequip, I mean take it off the circle button and the 2 trigger buttons as well. DeVito's dungeons will become a tad bit more complicated with switches you need to hit in order to progress. This will activate avalanches that will take you to different parts of the dungeon. I will admit, looking at this ice is a sight better than looking at the desert. I just hate the heat. I want it to be fall time already. I love Halloween, I love Thanksgiving, I love Christmas, my birthday's in January. I just love the cooler air. And for me, getting cold is honestly more bearable than getting hot because I warm up very quickly when I get cold. When I get hot, And no, I'm not talking about the profile pic I currently have. When I get hot, I can't cool down as easily. Oddly enough, I'm lean and I don't really have that much fat or muscle tissue on me. I mean, I am kind of muscular, but at the same time, I'm kind of skinny. So I don't know how I should be able to survive the winter like this, but I just manage somehow. I'm active, very, very active in fact, but also my diet, or lack thereof, is bullshit. Though the good thing about me and my diet is I don't really drink that often. I only really drink on special occasions. Or if I'm playing X6. That game is tolerable if I'm toasted. Which is why I don't play that game that often. We got another enemy gauntlet with these slugs that like to make the surfaces all iced over and slippery and gross. I hate the slugs only for the purpose of them freezing the floors. Otherwise, they're just kind of there. This is the third and final blast counter I got from Leibniz. It is called the Vector Reflector, and that is quite honestly the most badass name I've ever heard for a weapon ever. The Vector Reflector spawns a radius around Jason, and any enemy bullet that gets caught in the radius will go straight back to the source. What makes the blast counter even cooler is the pose Jason does during the move itself. He knows he's a badass. Another Fiction 101 tip for you. You gotta have a confident hero, and Jason here is more than confident. Maybe a little bit too confident at times, but he's more than willing to save the world, his frog, and his mechanical girlfriend at the drop of a hat. People might call Jason a simp for doing this practically for you's sake, but then again, I think the word simp is being overused at this point. What even is a simp anymore? And quite honestly, I think Jason's just doing this because he's that nice of a person, and also he's got his own reasons. And we'll learn more about his own reasons in Blaster Master 03. Let's just say he doesn't really have a family to speak of, other than just Fred and Eve. He doesn't have anybody else. And you might think that that plot point coming up is going to be a bit cliche. I think it works because not only does it connect Eve and Jason more on a literal and metaphorical sense, but it also makes sense why Jason's so good at what he does. It's because he was born to be the best. And this is way better paced storytelling than the NES days where it's boy loses frog, boy chase frog, boy finds a tank underground, boy uses that tank to find the frog. Yeah, simplistic storytellings. The NES was good at that. I don't mind simplistic stories. I mean, I like the Mario games, but I don't play the Mario games for their Oscar-winning stories. It's literally just rescue the princess. That's it. It's not 1985, 1988, where having a more involved story would turn some heads. Now it's actually quite the opposite. Having a simple story nowadays would definitely turn some heads. Especially if big studios have blockbuster games like The Last of Us, Horizon Zero Dawn, Red Dead Redemption, Tomb Raider reboots. Those games had massive stories that reinvented the wheel, basically, for video game storytelling. No, I'm not advocating for Blaster Master to have some sort of Citizen Kane. Kane, get it? What I did there? Kane, Citizen Kane, storytelling behemoth. But for what they added to the story and what Inti did with the actual lore, it's pretty good. They got me to care about the characters inside the tank and the people around this universe, and I'm just wondering what's going to happen next, as opposed to where the fuck do I go and why is this damn game not over yet, like I kept wondering for the original games. And like I said before, the NES game, really good game, if a bit antiquated. But after that, it was a 20-year dark age where every other game was just varying degrees of meh, if not just outright terrible. I've heard Blasting Again was good, but I've never played Blasting Again. It wasn't until Zero got the ball rolling again and people actually started to play these games again. Because, I will admit, this is a really underrated series, but they just... Back in the 90s, they just kept fucking it up for some reason. I don't know why. This is bound to happen with a lot of long-running series. Mega Man, they fucked up. Sonic the Hedgehog, they fucked up. Contra, they definitely fucked up on that one. Castlevania. They hadn't quite fucked up as hard with Castlevania, but they still fucked up sometimes. Blaster Master as a series also fucked up as soon as game 1. But just like those other series I mentioned, except for Contra, that's still really hard to get out. Road Course. Road Course sucked. Blaster Master is in a better place now, and hopefully we'll get more stuff in the future like this. And this was marketed as a trilogy, so this has to come to a head at some point. I mean, do you really want a Blaster Master 011 where where Jason and Eve are like 10, 20, 30 years older, and they're still fighting mutants? Well, in Eve's case, she probably doesn't even age at all, but Jason's just fighting robots and mutants with dirty old Kane. Eve! Eve! Give me my blaster rifle! No, those are my dentures! And yes, I am going to make another penis joke and say that Jason can't get his blaster rifle up. As well as his dick. A Metal Attacker. Is that Adam? What's this? Enemy reinforcements? That voice. Is that Stein? We were sent by Tessit. I've never seen this type of mutant attacker before. Is this some kind of new model? Mutant attacker? Is there some kind of mutant that mimics the MA series? He must be mistaking us for one of those. Whoa, hold on, Jason, we've got trouble. The receiver on his end isn't set to output audio, even though we can hear him clearly? What's up with that? Come at me, mutant attacker! I'll knock them eyes out of your head. Atom is durable, and the attacks on this tank will hurt you something fierce. What you want to watch out for is Atom's main cannon shots. He'll fire these at a regular pace. Oh, I forgot to mention that the pilot's name is Stein, by the way. Stein will shoot these at a regular pace. He's also got ion missiles as well as this drill attack. Stein himself will jump out and power up his tank in a very Shovel Knight-esque animation. I love that. Whenever he glows green, he takes even more punishment and seems like you can't even hurt him at all. And he'll also throw out these smoke clouds, which will explode. He will run out of steam eventually, and that's your chance to wail on him. But be careful though, he's got one more attack, and that's the giant fuck you laser. It's not actually called that, but it might as well be. If you get caught in the center of that thing, it's no doubt an instant kill. Or if it's not an instant kill, you probably should be begging for death anyway, because you'll be on 2 bars left. You gotta cling onto the walls for that sumbitch, because hovering won't do you any justice. Especially if you're already using energy. Stein is one of the harder boss fights in the game. He will run a train on you if you're not careful. Especially that laser attack. You do not want to be caught up in that laser attack. It hurts so bad. But with all that said, that's going to be the end of Part 8 of Blaster Master 02. Tune in for Part 9 where hopefully Stein reconsiders his idea of killing us. Hopefully. I don't know.